Restoring Men and History. And today we're going to focus on restoring men. This is one for you men, but you girlfriends can watch too. In Alpha Kings, Nick Adams and Alpha Kings. In Alpha Kings, this is Federalist.com. Nick Adams shows men how to live to the fullest. Now, that's what we're all about here, right? We want you to have fulfilling, deep, rich lives. By Samuel Mangold Linnet, February 1st, 2024. And he starts by going and saying what we've talked about. The masculinity crisis presents an existential risk to civilization. Of course, and the totalitarians know it, and China does too, right? Remember those ads they were running? They didn't want effeminate men running around in China. They knew they needed strong men. China understood that. Russia understands. Going on, men continue to overdose. We've talked about this. Drop out, kill themselves at alarming rates. This is bad, ladies and gentlemen. We talk about this and talk about this. We can't say it enough. We want you men to have exceptional lives and be men of excellence, gentlemen of excellence. Millions of children are being raised in single motherhood households. That's, government policies, relativism helped create all this. We've talked about it, so we're not going to dig in yet. But look at the amount of uninvolved fathers. And that gives you less of a chance of not going to prison, etc. So if you have an involved father, you're less likely to go as a boy. Girls are less likely to be promiscuous if they have an involved father. You need a strong father involved in your life like Seth Laird, who's been an excellent father. So going on, men are retreating from society. They continue to disappear from the workforce, refuse to join the military. Well, that's not a surprise, right? You're going to attract less men to a woke military. Or if a military is not defending and protecting the United States of America and the Constitution, and instead, and this is not the fault of the men and women in service, this is the fault of the leadership running around for the military-industrial complex having proxy wars, right? It's going to be less attractive to go in the military to fight a proxy war or to be in a woke military. They continue to disappear from the workforce. Men are retreating from society. We talk about this. We don't want you men to retreat from society, right? They continue to disappear from the workforce, refuse to join the military, and build closer friendships. We are always about friendships here. We want you to have deep male friendships, and you need it. Males are not joining organizations. They're not joining groups. So you guys need to get out, get in a group, join things, be active, and build deep friendships. If you like our mission right here, subscribe, like, comment. It helps the algorithm. Hit that notification button. If you want to come to one of our men's groups, go to restoringmeninhistory.com and we'll either start a group in your area or get you involved in one of our online or in person. We really want you in person. In an America post-material scarcity and post-sexual revolution, men have been told they are obsolete. Gentlemen, you are not obsolete. You are necessary for a strong country. Totalitarians want you to think you're obsolete. They want that narrative to play in your mind, so you retreat home and isolate and play video games and watch porn and remove yourself from society and don't get married, and we don't have the proper birth rate, and we don't have leaders and the fathers, and the government can provide and take that over, right? And have a nanny state. Anyway, you men are important. What you do is important. What you do in your families is important. You are vital and necessary to this republic and to freedom. So hats off to the men who are doing it today. Hats off to you, men. Hats off to you, leaders of your families. Hats off to those who are fighting for freedom and standing for freedom peacefully. We need you. We need the men. They're not welcome on campus. They're not welcome to the workforce. And they're not welcome in positions of influence. Unless what? They're willing to capitulate to left-wing philosophy, right? Ideology. So again, who's willing to go into a woke military? Less people that you would want in there, right? More people probably the totalitarians would want, right? Going on, enter Nick Adams. Okay, here he talks about Nick Adams. Adams is a conservative Australian-American author who leads an online community. Have you seen this guy? Of aspiring alpha males, primarily consisting of 15 to 35-year-olds. Adams' new book, Alpha Kings, according to his website, is meant to provide the roadmap for every young man to unlock their full potential. Hey, we want you to reach your full potential and strive for excellence. Okay? That's what we want to do here and restore men. Strive for excellence. We want you men to do that. Adam's book contains a good amount of wisdom from his life experiences. Wow, by the way, life experience is good, not just a PhD, right? From recalling how his education in an all-boys school in Sydney, we encourage you guys to get around men all the time, increase your masculinity, get around the right men of virtue, and to share your values, because that will aid you in becoming a stronger man, more masculine, right? You get around other men, you're going to be more masculine. Get all your stuff from women, not as much, right? Australia taught him the importance of male friendship. Boom. We believe in male friendship. We push it. You guys have to have deep male friendship. To recounting how his father once chastised him for poor posture, to emphasizing that men must be particular when selecting a male. Okay, we talk about these things all the time. You got to be very selective when selecting a mate, right? She's going to have similar values and virtues. Got to have some things in common. And chemistry, passion, I believe, is important. So, and you got to maintain that, right? You've got to maintain the chemistry, passion. You got to work at that. And relationship is work, so you have to work at it. And if you do it correctly, you can make each other better, okay? You can enrich each other's life. And be incredible, right? So, again, you need that male friendship too. So, male friendship, incredibly important to you men. And the stats are low and down. We've done videos on this. So many men don't have close male friendships or any friends at all. So, though relaying anecdotes and observation, Adams shows that young men can, in fact, thrive despite an anti-male sentiment of error. Of course. In fact, let me say this, gentlemen. You can thrive even more because there's less competition, right? There's going to be less men doing it right. So if you develop deep male friends that have similar values and virtues, you'll be a step ahead. If you get in a men's group, you'll be a step ahead. If you develop your virtues, courage, decisiveness, and other virtues, you'll be more manly. So you'll be ahead, right? A woman knows when a man comes along. Feminine woman knows masculinity like a masculine man knows feminine woman, right? A feminine woman. Goes on to say this: Adams is one cheeky bloke. It's partially why people find him so endearing and others find him offensive. You either get his sense of humor or you don't. A 30-second scroll of his social media should make clear that while he is largely doing a gag, he's also pointing out some pretty important truths. Whether he's posting satirical, homoerotic reminders so guys remember to make time for their friends, we encourage you to plan time for your male friendships. You got to plan it. You got to take the initiative. I just called and did a bunch of texts. Did you know somebody here to start a group? Do you know somebody here to... Nobody knew anybody, which showed me, and it goes with the stats, not many men have friends or have kept them where they were from, right? So, and that's one of the reasons we build these men's groups. We want to provide you with friends. See, we don't just want to talk about it. We want to take action and do something about it. That's why we do these men's groups. Check them out, restoringmeninhistory.com. You need friends. You need camaraderie, and being in a group of men monthly aid that. All right. Remember, so guys, remember to make time or waging war on woke brands. This is a good, funny video that he does here.
G'day guys, Nick Adams here. I want to speak about M&M's. I want to speak about Mars, the company behind M&M's. M&M's have just released feminist M&M's. Yes, you heard me right. Feminist M&M's. Egregious sexism of the worst and most conceivable kind. It is outrageous, it is disgusting, and it must not stand. That is why I am calling for a complete and total boycott of all things Mars, and particularly M&M's. It will not stand. Let me say this loudly, let me say this clearly, let me say this unambiguously. Any male that buys a packet of M&M's from today forward must hand in their man card, because they are a soft, woke, beta male feminist who has serious problems. Until M&Ms rectify this grave wrong by giving us all male M&Ms, this boycott will remain. We will not stand for this at all. M&Ms
that indoctrinate the masses. Adams brings levity in the inner world of men as it is increasingly characterized by nihilism and despair. It's a sad state of affairs. That's a good video. Satire aside, Adams is absolutely correct. American masculinity is largely in crisis because men forfeit the very notion of manhood to the fairer sex. We don't want you to do that. By overemphasizing, we've pushed against this external validation in the sexual marketplace and the satiation of aesthetic insecurity. Now that's interesting. Let me know your thoughts on this because I'm mission driven and purpose driven. And we want you men to get on purpose. So if you're too focused on that, what he's talking about there, emphasizing external validation in the sexual marketplace, you should not be getting your validation from the sexual marketplace. It should be internal. If you're developing the virtues, courage in these virtues, and you're becoming a stronger, better man, and you have deep male friendships, get your validation from your deep male friendships. Get your validation internally. You know you're doing the right thing. You know you're working on yourself, building skills, building up in the virtues. That's where we want you to get your validation from. And you can have your fun and fulfillment in the men's groups and have your intellectual stimulation there, right? Because in a men's group, we talk about philosophy, politics, history, ideas. So men need to develop your minds. And that happens in the groups, not just camaraderie. And we smoke cigars too. See, we're the fun party. We're the fun side. The freedom party is the fun freedom side. All right. Get on purpose. We always talk about get on purpose. You get a purpose and find a purpose larger than yourself. You won't worry about getting your validation from women. We don't want you to get your validation from women. We want to get it internally. You develop your self-worth internally. And it doesn't matter what the outcomes are. It doesn't matter what your material wealth is. Okay? You could have 75 mansions and have little virtue. Right? And not be doing the right things. When I say that, are you standing for freedom peacefully? Do you have a larger purpose than yourself? All right, going on. Comparing to the United States, to places that have more robust cultural identities, they've tried to wipe out our culture, right? The history of our founding fathers and everything that would tie you to the past and divide us. Generations aren't against each other. That's their narrative. Okay? You on the freedom side, I don't care if you're 115 years old or 21. Doesn't matter to me. We're not going to be divided by generations. We do not need dividing. It's based on race or age or wealth. That's their thing. Okay? It's not the freedom side thing. You believe in freedom and you're 115. I don't care what color you are. I don't care how old you are, et cetera, et cetera. All right. Adams writes, in the United States of America, women have defined what a man is. This makes America unique in the world. In the old world cultures, men define what men are. Well, we also define what men are. You can go to I think the playlist is called Better, Stronger Men. Got a lot of videos. Manly Virtues is one. What is a man is another one. So you can watch some of those videos. We define it internally. We want you to have that fulfillment. Again, let me know what you think about that. What feminism has done that? What the power? If you're in a group right now watching this video, stop and discuss that. Who do you want defining? Not women. We want men defining men, right? So stop and talk about this if you're in a group. If you're at home, you can make a comment here and talk to us or go to the site. All right. He later explains an American man sees his value as based upon the attractiveness of the woman that he can pull. That's not what we teach here. That is not where your value comes from. Your value comes internally and nobody can take it away from you. Your value does not come from material goods. Your value does not come from the material world. If you can be a good friend, you can support your friends, and you have virtues and values, that's where your value comes from. And we've identified that. You need a purpose. You need a purpose large yourself. You need to work on the virtues. There you go. And again, if you find the right one that has similar values and virtues and some common interest, that person can enrich your life. But you got to lead and have purpose. And you should have a purpose ahead of that. And definitely should have male friends ahead of that. Go into that with male friends and don't give them up. You're the leader. Now, your purpose could be leading your wife and providing for your family, right? That's a large purpose. That's an important one for society. So that could be your purpose. You're providing and leading your wife. That's a purpose. All right. Or it could be Elon Musk wants to get to space. That's a purpose-driven life, right? Elon Musk wanted to do something for energy. Elon Musk is working on AI to protect humanity, he says. So all of his purposes seem to be a larger purpose than himself, right? And he doesn't. So anyway, a mission larger than yourself. Churchill had that, right? Winston Churchill. George Washington certainly had it. So there are men you can watch and watch how they try to wipe those men out, right? Let's not forget that the term trophy wife was coined in America. It's somehow become a symbol of success, capitalism, winning, and all the other great American traits. A hot wife is the ultimate reward in the American male mind. No, we don't agree with that. So you're going to get your value from having great male friendships. Aristotle called that what? Phenomenal if you can have that highest level of friendship. So that's a great virtue, right? Friendship is a great virtue. So if you can have great male friendship and you can get in a male group and you can develop your virtues, your worth, your value, you know it. And nobody can take it away, right? That's a great thing about it. Nobody can take that away. If you're in the process and you're pursuing, it's not about the outcome. It's never about the outcome. Nick Saban talks about that too. Not about the outcome. All right, Adams calls on men to consider what drives and define them. We do too. What drives you? What defines you? We tell you in all those videos, right? Courage, the virtues, purpose, right? Men, the battle in life is your heart and your mind. We have a video called Strong Mind, right? We believe in this. You got to have a strong mind. They are the muscles you need to train, Adams, right? You are not suffering externally. You have been annihilated what? Internally. We talk about the internal all the time. Develop yourself internally and no one can take it away, gentlemen. We just want you to have a fantastic life. And you can have an outstanding, guess what else? You can control the internal to a large degree, right? You can choose to get better. You can choose to be disciplined. You can choose to focus. You can choose to be decisive. All right. Heart, mind, soul. Increasing courage in the virtues. Find your purpose. Build the internal. Going on, emphasizing that masculinity is a mindset, not a physical feat. Right? That's it. It's not how much you lift in the gym, although I just went to the gym yesterday and the day before, but that's not what makes me going to the gym. I love lifting weights, but again, you have to have the internal to go along with lifting weights. It's fine to lift weights, but we want you focused on the internal. And lifting weights is a good idea to keep strong in case somebody comes in your home and you have to protect your girl, right? But we want you to get fixed on the internal. And that will be what give you direction. You'll be able to make better decisions if they're coming from the internal. Adams calls on men to hold themselves and their peers accountable, assert themselves, and never abandon their families. Okay, if you're in a group of men, they can do that. He even dedicates a considerable amount of time to condemning Prince Harry for this, criticizing the prince as weak. We agree, for allowing his relationship. We've talked about this, with not on video in the groups, with Meghan Markle to cause friction between him and his family. Yeah, actually, I talked to John about this quite a bit. So terrible. We've talked about it. Adams says a strong man with real family values doesn't desert his family because of a wife's influence. 100%. You're the leader. Men are the leaders, not the followers. You lead the family. And by the way, always have friends, male friends, outside of your wife's friends. Okay? Always have male friends outside of your wife's friends. Don't give up your male friends if you do go into marriage. Period. Keep your good male friends. I've seen many men do it. It's a mistake. And then later, when they go through a divorce, they don't have any friends. And they're totally depressed and contemplating suicide. So keep your male friends. Don't give them up for a marriage. Okay? Adams also calls on men to do away with apathy in the home, right? 100%. And to take a more protective role in the lives of their family members. Involved fathers will lead to less prison time for boys. We just said that. Contrary to everything you've been told, real men do care, right? Leaders care too about their people, right? And you're the leader of the family. So as a leader, you should care about your wife, son, and daughter. Care about your wife, son, and daughter because you're the leader of that family. Alphas with care and take an interest even in the things that may not be the natural forte. Also, let me add one thing here. You men at this point in history have an opportunity to protect freedom in the Constitution, and you have to be involved in the country. You have to be asking your congressmen and your senators, are you going to defend the Constitution? We'll come up with a video on this and ask questions. Because you have to be active right now. You can't wait for the election. Election's too late. Yes, you have to vote, but you got to do all the work now. The preparation's now. So you have to be involved in freedom, and that's another reason to get in the men's group. We talk about history and freedom. Yeah, you need a group of men. So a Constitution, Founding Fathers, talking about those in the groups. That's another reason to be in the men's groups, because we talk about the Founding Fathers, the Constitution, and principles, and American principles, right? And you need to be learning about America and its history, and then teaching that to what? Your future children. Okay, that's who's going to teach it, not the schools, not the MICs, the Marxist indoctrination centers. That's going to be you. You got to teach it as men. You got to teach that and the Bible, biblical principles too, right? And we got one on the, I think we just released it, but on the elite survey that shows you how much they pay attention to politicians. So you men have to be involved in politics. You have to pay attention. You have to teach your families why we're a republic, why this is important. So that's another important step. It's up to us to what? Restore freedom, restore the Constitution, restore the republic, and restore men. Okay? It's up to us. Not waiting for Washington, D.C. to destroy it. Most importantly, Adam says that men need to have the discipline. We talk about discipline. You got to have discipline. 3 cheers for discipline. To do the things whether you feel like it or not, whether you like it or not. That's not what it's about. It's the discipline to continue, the discipline to do it, the discipline to get up every day and do it whether you want to or not, the discipline to keep on going through adversity. And it's a key to success, discipline. What ultimately determines the quality of our lives is mentality. We say this, if men can develop a positive attitude, we want you to have a positive attitude and discipline, they will be able to weather whatever storm comes their way. And that's what we have to do. We're going to have problems in life. We may lose everything, but if you're internally built, you need to be able to handle adversity, and you can. Going on, what else does he say? You need the discipline. To walk away from sex, you need the discipline to walk away from sex. If you're going to know more about your tax bracket than tattoos, you have to be disciplined. You got to be disciplined and sit down and read boring stuff. Okay, read. We got to do that. You got to read. And we believe in reading good books. So that's a go. Adam says discipline. Adam argues helps cultivate the steadfast men. We need to reclaim their roles in society. There are roles in society. We need to reclaim these roles. Be pleased. Have that role and that mantle and take it. It's up to you to take it. You're the leader of your family. Take your role. Throughout the book and many of his talks, Adams calls on men to turn to God. Church attendance is a non-negotiable part of any alpha male Sunday, he writes. The author here says his skepticism toward the institution of marriage is a bit perplexing. Well, look, there are courts and judges and laws that have made it very concerning for a lot of men, right? You can't deny that. So there's problems. There's problems because of the courts and the judges, and because the government got involved in marriage. And it should be not. By the way, the federal government has no enumerated power to be involved in marriage at all. So there's another case of the government getting involved in messing up things. The federal government has no enumerated power to be involved in marriage. All right. And judges and courts have made it worse. No fault divorce, etc. All these, we're not going to go into marriage here, but yeah, you have to be careful whom you marry, right? You have to be very careful. You may have to know, maybe we'll do a video on how to choose a wife. Going on, the truth is that in 2023, there is little incentive for a man to get married. Adam says men don't want to lose their freedom and wealth just to be belittled and diminished by their significant other. Hey, look, marriage, love, it's got to be about love. You got to build each other up, not belittle each other. Words matter. Listening matters. Hearing matters. And making a woman feel loved matters, and it's got to be genuine. So going on. You don't even need to be married these days to be fleeced by a woman, Adam says. Yet there are always, going back to there appears to be a correlation between the increasing secularization of men and the masculinity crisis. And more young people reject religious affiliation, fewer and fewer marry, more children are born to mothers without committed fathers, and these family units increasingly lack cultural institutions that inform them about the role a man should play, so the cycle continues. Yeah, listen, a lot of fathers are gone, they're absent, they're not involved, and they're not taking kids to church. So yeah, I saw some study, we're not going to pull it up here, about when the father takes the kids to church versus the mom. It's much more of a significant advantage to that family. And I saw another survey where, parents were giving kids a choice. Well, if you give a 6 or 7 year old a choice, do you want to get up and go to church at 8? A lot are going to say no. So that's not a choice, really. If you want to take them, you're going to take them. You're going to make the decision. And some parents are letting children choose to be a girl if they're a boy. So that's the crazy stuff. All right. So you got to direct children. Children need direction, not confusion, right? That's our line, right? Children need direction, not confusion, right? Adams even points out early in the book, the problem is that people aren't going to church anymore, and traditional theology-centered lifestyles are disappearing. Well, look, a lot of the churches have left theology behind, right? And God behind. Adams laments, to add salt to the wounds, far too many religious leaders are weak, woke, and writhe with discomfort from having to engage their congregation in meaningful ways. Right, they're either scared to state the biblical truths about many topics, or they get in social justice. I remember, never forget this one church going to, where it was just with my mom, that was just this whole social justice message. Wow. Anyway, so if you're going to be the world, there's nowhere to go. In fact, fathers, don't take your children to woke churches or leftist churches or social justice churches. You're doing them more harm. Stay home and teach them in your house, or find a good church. You can teach the Bible at your home if you don't have a good church in your area. So anyway, this is the church thing. You can teach them Bird. It's a father's job to teach that, right? It's your job. It's not the church's job. It's your job. It's also the church's job. But many are not. Many are into this woke stuff, and it's shallow. So, and think of the churches that closed during COVID. What would the message that sent? When people need them the most, they closed. So that's probably either a scared or woke or something other church. So there's too many woke churches, left-wing churches, communist churches. So there you go. Feminized churches, emotional churches. This isn't to say that marriage is a fourth-wave feminist silver bullet, but there's a reason secular leftists reject Christianity and the traditional roles it emphasizes. People that want power, leftist progressives, would not want you in a strong word-centered church, right? Why? Because then you begin your authority from God, which you do, because rights come from where? Where do your rights come from? They don't come from government. They come from God, right? God-given rights. So our rights come from God, not government. So if you're heavily involved in a good word-driven church, you're not going to probably succumb as much, possibly, to the government or the federal government being unconstitutional. Religious devotion also provides young men a way to opt out of the Nietzschean grift that isolates and commodifies their existence. While let's wrap this up. RMH, we want you men to be successful in life. We want you to reach excellence in your lives. We want you to have good male deep friendships. You need it. We want you to have camaraderie and know what that's like. So develop deep male friendships. Get in a men's group, one of ours or another one, doesn't matter. Just get in one that's good, that agrees with your values and virtues. If you agree with ours, get in ours. RestoringMenInHistory.com is the website. Check out the other videos we have on men. Have male friends and get on purpose. So seize the day, men. If you like our mission, like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification button. Thank you.